Welcome to the 2019 Atom Software Updates. My name is Mark Preco, President and Founder of Atom Software, and it's my pleasure today to present all the enhancements we made for this year. So you should have an outline in front of you, and if you don't, you can go to the Help tab or the Help menu in Atom, and there should be one available to you. So if you want to pull that out, and then jot down any notes that are relevant to your office as we go through these changes, and hopefully they will help you this coming tax season. So to begin, we have the Miscellaneous, and I'm going to be referring back and forth to the outline, so right now I'll move it over and then I'll pull up the Atom software. So we have your new help videos, which we're always going to be putting those in there as we develop the software, and then also we have something new with this field description. So if I click over here, now when you click on the screen help, in a lot of the pages in Atom, you'll see the account types. I'm doing an example here of account types. So here's the help video, which we always have, but now we've added field descriptions. So each one of the column headings will now describe what they do. So then you may not have to go to the video to actually go for several minutes before you find out what a specific column might be doing. So now we try to add this in the field description. So we haven't completed it all the way through Atom, but we're continually adding to that, and hopefully in another by next tax season we'll have it completed for every single help video that we have. The next item up on here, let me pull the outline back up. We have our quick link menu bar. So if you look over here on the screen in the lower left-hand corner, we have Top, Home, Search, Assign Task. Now you can quickly get to any page quickly. So this is actually on every single page. So it doesn't matter if I'm inside a client file, in my Assign Tasks, and the home page, I can quickly go maneuver and navigate throughout the software very quickly. Now we also have Restrict User Access, and outside of the office right here. So now you can restrict based on the IP address. So if you don't want your employees to access Atom outside the office, you can go ahead and put a different IP address that they're only going to be allowed to access through, which would typically probably be your home office, and that's all done on the user page. And you can set that up in admin on your user page. All right, the next section we're going to move into lobby management. So we made a lot of changes related to our lobby. So to begin with, on the check-in screen, let me pull up a check-in screen for you real quickly. So as many of you know, the check-in screen uses to streamline the process of to help the receptionists out as the clients come through your office. But you can also use a check-in screen for other things. So for example, prospecting. So now you can edit what the message is displayed. So right here I actually put in cell phone number as opposed to social security number. So you could use the check-in screen to help you, say if you want to gather prospects or leads and you are actually at a trade show, you could have them enter their cell phone number. That would quickly enter them into Atom, and you can also set that up to send them a text instantly too. So I'm going to quickly demonstrate this. So if I hit, and it says, are you a new client? So I enter my cell phone, I hit yes, and this is another feature now. You then can enter your the client or the prospect can enter their first and last name. So this can be used both obviously gathering leads, or if you're the normal process of when the client walks through your door to check in if they're a new client, you can now have them enter their first and last name. And that's set up all in admin. Move this back over here, pull open the outline again. And another feature we added with the check-in, we tried to streamline the check-in process. So for deceased clients and divorced clients, now when the clients come in and check in, as long as you put in the date of death in the contact information section, it'll then, when the client checks in, it'll only display the surviving spouse's name as opposed to the deceased spouse's name. And for divorced clients, in the contact information section, there's a spot where you can check the box if they were divorced. And if you do that, then when the client walks through the door, it's only going to have the spouse, so the taxpayer would be checked and only display the taxpayer's name and not the spouse's name. And for the spouse, if they come in, it actually would obviously display their name, and it'll actually create them a new file at the same time. And that works the same way with the deceased client. So if the spouse is deceased and the taxpayer comes in, it's just going to display the taxpayer's name. So hopefully that'll help with the streamlining the process of divorced and deceased clients. Moving on to the next, the lobby tracker screen right here. So if you're using this screen, it's located in your lobby. This will kind of tracks so how long the client's been waiting if you have walk-ins. So now the spouse's name will also be added to that screen along with the taxpayer's name. The lobby average time screen. This is typically located on your website. In addition to tracking the time your clients are in that they're waiting, it also displays the office hours, and now it'll display the office hours even when you're not open. So if once it goes past midnight, it would say it's closed now, but it will be say open at 9 a.m. So it's all linked to your appointment calendar and the start time scales. And that's if you guys are using these screens. So these are available to you to help streamline your check-in process. Going on to page 2, the home page under office events. So we've added 13 new additional office events for you. So if you ran out of office events, now you have 13 new ones that you can start from to add. You can sort your events by ascending and descending order just by clicking on the column, the name of the column, and it'll just sort back and forth. You can also, for your predefined notes, let me move over here. If I were to go into an office event right here, so my predefined notes right here, you can set up them globally. So if you have a predefined note that you want to display for every single event, you can do that in admin as opposed to having to do it individually on every single event, which could be very time consuming. You can print multiple invoices. So from now on your events, we have, let me get to the cashier. You can print an invoice from here. So you can print multiple just by selecting here and then selecting print invoice. You can also do that with the statement. Next one we have on the new master view data field. Let me pull this up to, oh, got the wrong data. Let me see here. Let me pull up payroll. This will demonstrate. So over here in the upper right hand corner, this view date. So it defaults to today's date, which happens to be January 2nd. So everything that's current start dates of January 2nd will display right here. But if I want to see something in the future, so say I'm going to go to January 16th, it'll now populate over here on the home page on these under my office events. Now I see something under payroll. I have 3, 1 under federal withholding. So it's all triggered based on this view date. So it'll control every single event that's on the home page. So I go back to the 2nd. As you notice now, they are disappearing. So that's what my master view date field is over here. Now I'm going to move over to override users. Get back here 1 second. So I'm going to go to my tax prep. So right now, this user up here, this is defaulting to my account user, which actually happens to be the preparer. I can change this so I can make this be the event user, which would be the person who typically creates the event, and I do that in admin. So now you're able to override that field, and if you look under here it says tax prep 1/3, so that means there's 3 total in tax prep if I select all. So I have 3 clients here, and when I switch back to Mark, the account user, now it says 1/3, so meaning one of those happens to be Mark. So all you can do is you can just override if you want this to be considered the event user or the account user. Okay, moving on to the next, we have new event column headings. So these column headings right here, we've added some new ones. We got the account number. We have a sign date, event sign date, days after account due date, after the days after the event due date, the date of death, and the spouse's name. All those are all brand new column headings, and those all can be controlled in admin, where you can set up and display whatever column headings you'd like to display. Next, we have override event fields. So you can now override the start date, end date, the due date and the assign date. So right under here, we have these overrides. You just enter the dates in there, and then you hit override dates, and that will then control and override any of these dates. So if you need it, this is a nice feature for those that are using Atom to manage their payroll and their bookkeeping clients. Moving on to page 3 in our outline. So now we're continuing with the office events. So the daily log summary box, we've now added a completed count, and also the fees and payments are going to be triggered off the transaction date as opposed to the date received. So right down under here, under the daily log, there's a summary box which kind of gives you a picture of what's going on for the day, or if you have all day selected over here, you can see the total count. So here now we have track of count, walk-ins, and now we have completed. So as of right now, I just had one completed here, but that's how that would be working. And the fees and payments, again, would trigger off the transaction dates. The new checklist, let's see, we're right here, the daily new checklist icon. Let me go to my tax prep. So the icon itself, we changed, so it's no longer just a check. It's now has more of like looking like a checklist item box here, and it's highlighted in orange, which it was. Highlighted in orange means that you have required checklist items. If it highlights in a light green shade right here, that means we have checklist items. They're not required, but they're open. They haven't been completed. So if I click on the icon, that's going to take me to my checklist page. And from here, I can organize by type. So here's my checklist types. I have required tasks, SOPs. If I uncheck this, now I'm going to show all my checklist items. So as this continues to grow and get longer, you might want to organize these by type to keep the page clean. And you set the types up. You set that up in admin under checklist types. We've also added a done box. So now you can easily keep track of what's done and what's not done, and we've highlighted in yellow, indicating it hasn't been completed yet. Let's see. Print account event checklist. So right here, if you click this PDF, this will kind of just be a paper version of all your checklist items here. So if you wanted this on paper as opposed to seeing it here on the screen, you can do that. The new checklist summary table. If I go to my home page, I have a link right here, checklist summary. This is going to summarize my closed checklist items. And I have a full training video on that, so I'm not going to get into it quite right here, but this is how you would access this. You just click on the checklist summary. It's going to take you to a page, and then when you get your updated, you'll see an updated video link right here that'll kind of explain this, but it's a way of, if you're using the checklist, I would say definitely take a look at that training video. It'll kind of walk you through, and it'll give you some valuable information that you can use as summary numbers for your checklist. We also have a new office event summary tables right here, again, on the home page. Office event summary. I also can access these from if I'm inside any office event. If I click on the lobby up here, again, I got my checklist summary, and I have my office event summary. This office event summary, what they are is they're a series of tables. I guess there's 5 tables, and they all are going to give you summary numbers of your office events. And again, I have a training video set up for that because there are 5 tables to kind of give you exactly what that'll provide for you. So if I left click here, this actually takes me into the table with all the 5 tables here. And it all depends on what you're looking for, how you're using that office event, as to how this information will be helpful to you. But again, when you get your release, you will have a screen help right here that'll explain each one of these tables. And I don't want to, it's a little too much to do in this little highlight video of enhancements, but it is valuable information that summarizes your office event. So I do encourage you to take a look at that once we do give you that new release. Okay, moving on to page 4 of our outline. Move down here to page 4. we're now under the user overview of my assigned tasks. So let me move it back over to my Atom. So here's my assigned tasks right here. So from here, you can export this to Excel if you'd like. You can mark them as done. So you can mark them as done as opposed to having to go into the client file. You just kind of check the box and hit mark as done. You can, we could always do it mark as read. That's nothing new. You can, if you want to receive a text message when somebody assigns something to you, you can now do that, and it's all set up on your user page. So in case you're outside the office and you just want to be informed, if anyone sends you assigns you a task, you can receive it as a text now. The checklist status. Over here we have the task type and status. We've now added the checklist status. So if you're using Atom, again for checklists to mark things off as you complete them, now when they're assigned to you, you'll know where it's coming from, which checklist status it's coming from. So in this example right here, we have reviewer status. So it's just a way of, because you can be assigned tasks from multiple areas within Atom. So it's now going to identify where they're coming from, make it easier for you. Display task counter, that's displayed right here. So now I have 2 new assigned tasks. Obviously those are identified by being highlighted in yellow, but I can just get a grand total right here up at the top of my page. And you can override the dates. So I can override my due date and my assigned date right from here now, as opposed to having to go into the client file. To do that, all you do is check the box, and you can select the dates right here, and it'll change my assigned date and my due date. So if you'd like to do that, you can manage all that from your My Assigned Tasks as opposed to having to go into the file. So it's a lot quicker to manage everything from the My Assigned Tasks now. View tasks by user. So right here, you can view, like if I want to select Mandy and I want to look at her tasks, I would just select Apply. And again, this one isn't new. What is new is that it'll stay on Mandy's name until I select back to Mark. Even if I move around through the software, it will not change. So if you're helping somebody out to complete tasks, that's very helpful to have it just select, and it will stay defaulted to that person's name until you unselect it. Moving now to the next section on page 4 is Office Overview. So Office Portal Messages. I'm going to go back to my home page here. And under my Office Portal, in this case I'm showing 21 new messages. So now when an email goes out, let me get back to my outline. So when an email goes out from Atom to your client, say if you upload a tax return to them and they receive an email, you can select, they'll be at the bottom of the email automatically, it'll say unsubscribe. So if they select unsubscribe, they will no longer receive emails from Atom, so of any kind. And it'll automatically, inside the client file, in the contact information section, it'll check the box disable emails automatically for you. The clients, and you can also receive notification of all those people that unsubscribe. So in case they did it by mistake, but you'll receive that notification coming right in here as a portal message. So it'll say that so-and-so B&C Pharmacy may be unsubscribed. And if you want to contact them, you could just make sure they may have done it by mistake. You can link quickly to the permanent documents and account documents in Twilio message page. We made a lot of the changes we made this year in Atom was to make it easier for you to navigate and quickly do things to be more efficient. So when I'm inside of my portal messages here and I go to try to reply, now at the top here, I can quickly get to any one of these pages, account documents, permanent documents, and Twilio message. So we did that in several pages. So as opposed to having to go back into the client file, then to maneuver to a specific page, now you can link directly to the page to make it easier and quicker for yourself. For the next section, we're on the prospect portal messages. So if I move down here, so now if you want to be always notified if you get a prospect message coming in, if they're asking for information about your office or your products that you sell, you can set it up so that you can automatically receive a text so that even if you're outside the office, you know that you want to log in quickly to try to respond back and try to win that person over as a client. So you can set that up if you'd like, an admin on your user page. You can also, the prospect landing page, moving down to the last bullet there, you can have a phone number. The phone number is automatically on that landing page, but now it's a required field. So this is going to make it easier for you to contact your prospects. So when they submit information having questions about your products, you now then can either, obviously you always can send an email to them or reply back to them that way, but you can also make sure that you have your phone number. Now we're moving on to page 5. So on page 5, we're under the Twilio text messages right here. So you can now, when your clients send you a text using Twilio, they can now send you a picture also. So if they want to do a snapshot of their receipts or something, they can send it to you just so you know it's not secure. So if they do want to take a snapshot of their W-2, I wouldn't recommend it because it is not secure. And the preferred method is to have them just send it to you to the client portal. 1, it's secure, and 2, it automatically gets added directly to their file. Whereas if they send you as a picture text, then you're going to have to save it and then upload it into their file. But it still could come in handy where they can send you pictures now. Non-client text messages will display even if cell phone number isn't identified in Atom. So the second bullet there, what that means is when you have people actually sending you text and they're not even in your database, we had some issues where it was hard to read on this page. To actually read the message, you actually had to check a box, show all sites. You won't have to worry about that now. Now, all text messages will be displayed, even if they're not, the client or the prospect isn't even in your database yet. So that was an issue last year, so that's been corrected. Next, if your clients decide to stop, pull this over here, here's our outline. If they want to stop receiving text from you, all they have to do is type stop, and that always actually was the case. Now it's going to make sure that it does get disabled. It was being disabled into Twilio. Now it's going to be disabled also inside the client file in the contact information. If they want to start receiving text right away, all they have to do is type start, and that'll uncheck the box inside the client file, and then they can start receiving text messages from you again. Search tab, we've added inactive business types. So if we go over here into my search criteria, open this up, and right under business types, sometimes we were having issues where the clients, you guys are trying to search for a client and you couldn't find the client, and it's because what happened was that business type was made inactive. Now you won't have that issue. It's going to display both inactive and active business types, so you won't have that issue anymore. Search results. We made some changes on the search results. Let me look up a client here, Tommy Sager. What we've done now is the transactions to try to provide extra space here. We've combined columns. So fee, discount, and payment are all under one column here. We've also listed the phone numbers to make it easier to contact the client. You don't have to go into the file. You can see the phone numbers right here. We have its own new column. Difficulty and prep time we've combined into one column. And let's see, I think that's all for search results. Now let's move to the punch clock tab right here. So if you look under billable employee hours, if you want, here we have the billable rates, 175 here, it calculates. If you want to hide that so some of your employees don't see the billing rate, you can do that now in admin. If you want to track sick and vacation days, you can do that now. You can set that up in admin. And so if you were to go to the punch clock, the regular punch clock where you're tracking hours, so now right under here, you can set up where it has 6-day vacation days, and then you can run report and you can see how many days they've been sick or on vacation. So it's a better way of tracking. This time as your office grows, as your business grows, and you have more employees giving them sick day and vacation, you need to keep track of that. The in-out board right here, what it's going to end up doing right now we display everybody, but once we get these up and running, it's actually going to default to just the people that are in your office. So if you have multiple offices and you need to just see who's in your office, so as soon as you click on in outboard, it'll actually just default right to those people that employees are actually in, and it'll just be your office. Now you can quickly obviously move to any office you'd like, but now they are defaulted there. Moving on to page 6, we have the Appointments tab. So if you are using our check-in screen, you know we wanted you to, for new clients, we wanted you to gather the last 4 of their social. That way it would link them properly inside of Atom. So now you can make it required so that your receptionists have to get the last 4 of the social. So that's set up in admin. You don't have to do that. You can turn that on or off if you'd like, but just let you know that it is available. Appointment confirmations right here. As we had this last year, you can send email, text, or email and text. Now you can edit and customize those confirmations. So right now, before we had a default confirmation, but now you can customize that. That's all set up in your email text templates in admin. The work schedule. If I go to the work schedule tab, you can now color code this. So on the work schedule, if you want to track, say, your sick or vacation time, so it's very easy to display, so you know who's not in the office and who is in the office. And you can set up the color coding in admin. Speaking of admin, let's go to the admin tab. So we're just moving right along. We are on page 6 right now. So under admin on batch messages for the admin tab. So there was an issue, where are we at? Batch messages. Last year, actually probably the last couple years. So when you tried to send a batch text message, and again, this is using Twilio. So before we had this text editor, and this was causing all kinds of problems where it was putting HTML code in the text. So now when you select here and hit text message, the text editor will disappear and you won't have to worry about that anymore. So that'll be a nice change for you, so you can easily send text via batch without having to worry about HTML code displaying. Under the company page, we've expanded it, so now if your company name is long, it can handle up to 150 characters. We've added the province and country, and also the territory right here. So that's for our Canadian friends that are using Atom. The company uploads page, we made changes to all the uploads pages where you can actually now delete multiple records at one time. So you're just going to do a select, and then you can hit delete records. So that's on every single uploads page, both company and users and clients. Email text templates, we made several changes to this. So one was you can now edit your confirmations, which we talked about. You can set up unlimited appointment email text confirmation. So if you want to remind the clients more than just 1 day in advance, say 5 days, then 3 days, you can do that. You can create as many appointment text templates or email text templates as you'd like. And you do that right here under the drop down, selected appointment. And then this other one called Dynamically Created Template. You can create as many email text templates as you'd like that are just have like maybe a special occasion like Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. You can set these up in advance, and there's a trigger date right here. So you can actually pick the date that you want that to go out. And those are unlimited, so you can have as many as you want. So you can set all these text templates up and email templates in advance, and they can go out at any time during the year. The event status, moving down to the next bullet at the bottom of page 6, client notifications. The only change here is we just changed how the dynamic fields, instead of putting, before we had it set that the client, move down here, we had a dynamic field client, and sometimes that would put the first name in, sometimes it would put the full name in. To be consistent, we've replaced this. Now it just has first name, full name. So if you want the first name to display in your client notifications, you just would put this dynamic field. Full name, again, it would be this dynamic field. Depends on what you want to do and customize that. And then for businesses, as opposed to using, before we were having the primary contact name go out in any email or text templates. If you're using a dynamic fields, now it's going to be the actual business name. Okay, so just so you know that. Moving on to page 7. Again, we're in admin. So we have rollover accounts. We made a few changes to make it easier if you're using the rollover accounts. So we added a few more filters to make it easier for you to roll those clients over into the next year. Users, for the personal information section, again, you can now delete multiple uploads at one time, as we just talked about in the company page. And again, we've added province and territories. Again, for our Canadian users, now for the user, you can add the province and the territory in there. Tax reporting information, hopefully you guys are aware of this. So in the tax reporting information section inside the user's file, let me go to that. So hopefully you know that you always want to have a begin and end date. So because this is so important, because otherwise it'll throw your reports off, now when you add a new user, you're going to get a red warning message saying that you need to enter a begin and end date, and it'll keep displaying until you actually come down here and enter a begin and end date. So just a helpful reminder to make sure you get those added in there. Moving on to the reports tab, the mailers client export. So we've added a few more fields to that. The spouse's email address is added. Date of death for both the client and the spouse has been added there. So you guys could use that report it's like basically a client dump of data, and you guys can manipulate it however you like in Excel. So we just added some more data fields to that. The management billable client hourly punch clock, we've added now you can filter by client. So you can just look for a specific client if you want to get the billable information on them. We have a new management report called transaction hours. So if you're using the transaction section to capture hours, billable hours for a client, you can now, we have a report there to give you that information. We have a new report for EF data. So this is just for our Drake, Crosslink, and TaxWise users. If you're, when you pull that data over, you can get a comparison of prior year's e-file data. So that's a new report. And we have the management punch-in log. If you want to try to track where your employees are punching in and out, you can now filter strictly by the user and the site. So that might be helpful if you think people are punching in and out outside your office and they're not supposed to be doing that. Moving on to page 8. So again, we're in the reports tab. We have a new tab called referral type summary report. So this is a nice valuable tool for using Atom to track your marketing campaigns. It has a lot of information, more so than the management referral type. So it's going to give you, it's going to basically kind of tell you how many years these new clients are staying with you. Are they one and done clients, or are they lifetime clients? Are they referring additional business to you? You can actually track, obviously, your payments and billable amounts versus that. So it's a lot of, if you are using Atom to track your marketing campaigns, you definitely want to check this report out. I think it'll be very helpful for you. State unemployment wage detail. So if you're using Atom to calculate payroll, you want to take a look at this one. It'll help with your unemployment in your Michigan or your state unemployment reports. And if you're using Atom to do work schedules, we have 2 new reports to assist you in that, to help make sure that all your employees are getting proper hours or they're not going over their hours. So take a look at this report for weekly work schedule view and also the availability schedule view. On the client portal, see if I can pull this up for you. So we've added for the e-signature, we now made it easier for the client. They can now request their PIN. Before, they still can do this. They would click on this here button, and that would automatically give them a PIN if they don't have one already for e-sign. Now we've added a button over here where they can request a PIN, so let's make it a little easier for them. We've also added an acknowledgement statement here. Basically, they're saying that they've acknowledged and they've reviewed the documents that are included in this e-signature. And if they don't check this box, then they actually will not be able to e-sign the document. So it's just another way of confirming that they are reviewing the documents before they e-sign. So it's just a checkbox kind of covering you guys. We cancel that. They can update their personal information. This is on the client portal again. Now we just added their province and territory and the country down here. So that's on the portal. Moving on to page 9. The quick link menu bar. Let me display that. Let me show you that one. Okay. So if I'm going to go back inside my client file, go to this client here, look them up, John Casey. And I'm going to go in their tax prep file. So as you notice, we have the quick link menu bar here, home or top home search, which we've always had. Now we've added the client's name. So then we know where, even if we're down here at the bottom, I still know I'm in John Casey's file. And then we've also added the account year and the business type over here too. So now I can quickly maneuver to any year I want from any spot on this page. So it's quick to maneuver and navigate. And I can quickly, because I've linked John to his other businesses, I can go to his business X tax. Whereas before, as you recall, you had to go to the other accounts, and that's how you'd get to his other business types that are linked. Now I can quickly just go back to his individual file, and I can go to if he's a different business type, I can quickly get to that too. So this is located anywhere on the file. So it's a great way to navigate throughout anything linked to John or the individual client file. Scrolling up here on page 9, we have the contact information. So we have the access code, which typically is a social security number. So we now made this, again, more user-friendly to our Canadian users. So they can select in admin and switch this over to instead of their social security number, they have an SIN, and they're displayed differently. So you can change that over. That also can be changed for their birth dates too. That's all done in the date of death. So they use, instead of the month, day, and year, theirs is year, month, and day. So that'll be converted over and you can set that up in admin. Now we have a new website. So if I were to switch over to a business type, so now X-Tax is a business, I can now record the website of this business right here too, and I can quickly link off to it by clicking on the website field. Moving on to divorced, I'll switch back over to John as an individual client. And we've now identified, so if John now is divorced from Mary, you check the box right here, it'll highlight in yellow. And again, as we mentioned, when they check in, it'll know now not to display Mary's name, it's only going to display John's name. And then if Mary were to check in, it'll display Mary's name, and it'll create a brand new file for her, something that the receptionist now doesn't have to do. So very nice tool for the check-in process to help streamline that. But you do have to mark it. You do have to mark them divorce first, and also the date of death that's tied to the check-in screen. Make sure it's got recorded here inside the client file to make that work on the check-in screen. The city, the state, the province, right down here in the contact, again, territory and province has now been added, and you can edit that too in admin. The permanent documents page, right down here where you store your permanent documents, you can now delete multiple records at one time if you'd like, and you can also link to other different pages, Twilio page, your client portal, and your account documents page very easily and quickly. On the client portal log, again, I'm still on page 9 here of the outline. Client portal log right here, click on client portal messages, I go to log, and again, I have these quick links to get to different pages. It's just again, a lot of the changes for this year with Adam was to make it easier for you to navigate through there to make you work more efficiently, because Adam's all about being efficient in your office, saving you time. Moving now on to page 10. So the Twilio message log right here. Scroll over here. So now we have the drop-down menu. So if John is linked to other clients, I can quickly get to their Twilio message page easily by just clicking over here. And then I switch right back. And we have the quick links at the top again. I can get to my account documents and my Twilio message, to my permanent documents very quickly. Now I'm going to scroll down to, one last thing. We can send international texting. So obviously if you're sending a Twilio text through Atom, you need the cell phone number here. And if you're going to send it an international text, you just would add a plus, then the company code, and then the country code, and then the cell phone number. So that's how you could send an international text. So that'll automatically work for you if you're using Twilio. Moving over here, let me pull the outline back up in case you lost track. So we are on page 10, and now we're talking about the referral pop-up box. So as you know, when you select refer a friend and the referral pop-up box, and you can send an email and a text automatically thanking them, now you can customize this, and you could customize it before last year in the text templates, but now you can send a picture with it. So if you want to send we send cash out with our refer friends, so we actually send a picture of a bag of money that's going to their cell phone. So that definitely gets their attention and hopefully sends you more referral business. Add new account year, business type. This is going to make it easier for you to add a new account year or a business type. So I'm inside the account information section, the client file. And right now I'm in real estate. I want to move it over to tax preparation. 2017. So if I want to add an account year, say they're coming in to do their 2018 return, I just hit add new year or add account year / business type. Now we have this new pop-up window that's going to display. So from here, it's going to default to the next year, which would be 2018, which is great because that's what I want to add. I can just add new year, add new year. Or if I want to switch over and add a different business type, I could do that and select it here. So it makes it very easy to add a new year. Or if I wanted to add a back year, I can do that very easily too. So I just select this. So now I've just created my 2018 account year for this business type tax preparation. Account uploads, again, we can, if I go to my account uploads page, I can easily delete multiple records at one time, and I can link off to my client portal message and my Twilio message page. Moving back to the EF database section. So unfortunately, I have some bad news for you here. So for us Drake, Crosslink, and TaxWise users, when we click on this section here, we would see our EF data flow in from Drake, which we're still going to do, which is great. But then down here under the Federal 1040 refund status link, which links us off to where's my refund. In the prior years, that would pre-fill all the needed information, and it would automatically give us a status bar showing the latest. So unfortunately right now, the IRS made a change to their site, and they're no longer allowing us to pre-fill that data in there. So what you're going to have to do is click on the link, it'll go to the where's my refund, and then you will enter the refund amount, the taxpayers, I believe their social security number, and then their last name. So the data is going to be here, but unfortunately now you're going to have to manually enter that in. So that was a change that was done on the IRS to prevent us from pre-filling those fields. So sorry to pass that on to you, but whoever's answering your phones are definitely going to want to know that because it's going to create a few more, maybe another 30 seconds or so to enter that information in. Transaction information section. Let me go to a year where you have some transaction data. So from here, you can delete multiple transactions at one time. So you just check these boxes and hit delete transactions if you want. You can move transactions to any account year. So right here. So if you accidentally put them in one year and they should be in another one, again, just check the boxes and then you can then move it. Send recursive invoice notifications. So if this person has a balance due and you want to invoice them and send them what the balance due is, right down here, you just check this box, send every so many days, and then how many times you want it to go out. So if you want it to go out 10 times and then stop, if say you want it to go out every 5 days but stop after the 10th time, you would enter a 10 in here. And again, you just hit update and that would go and that would start working and automatically send those notifications out. Now, once they pay and the balance is paid off, this will automatically just stop. There's nothing you have to do right here. Business type and account year added to the print statement, the print hourly statement, and the open invoices. So these right here, print statement, hourly statements right here, all we did is we added the business type and the account year over on the right-hand side. So it makes it easier for the client to know what you're billing them for. You can compare, if you look right down here, under the transaction sections, you got totals. We have our fee, our payments, our discounts. We have this column called billable events. So if you're using Atom in the office events, if you're using the office events to track billable time in here, that'll now display down here so you can actually compare this amount to what you're actually billing them to make sure that if you're spending, if you're billing the appropriate amount. So if your billable events actually is like $200 and you're only billing $150, then you need to bump up your fees. So that'll display right here easily. So when you actually record your fees, you can see. And again, you'd have to be using the office events, the billable section right here, and I refer you back to the videos if you'd like to do that. It'll show you how to set that all up. Okay, moving on to page, what are we on? Page 11. We're almost done here. Task notes section. Right down here, I can mark as done or undone if I'd like. So multiple records at one time, speed up the process. And now my office events that are inside here. So I'm going to scroll back up here to my office events. So we have several changes that were done here. You can, it's not displaying right here, but there's going to be a link that's called print account event notes and due dates. So say if you enter information here that you're missing information and you want to actually print out the document to hand to the client so they can take it home with them and so they can keep record of it, you'll be able to do that, and you can even put a due date with that. So one, you're going to be entering it in here, and then you can just come up here and click on the link and then print it off for the client if you'd like to do that. The done column, we've added a new column. It's a done. So it has a checkbox. Again, we're just trying to be consistent, just like we have down here in the task notes and the transactions. We've now added a done column here so you can check them out. It'll be checked as you complete it with an end date. It's highlighting in yellow, just like to be consistent with the rest of the pages here. Prior to it, it was highlighted here in the status. You had a big box right here that was highlighted in yellow, meaning it was not completed yet. Now it's going to be in the done box. Default budgeted hours over here, this column, billable. So if you're using our billable column, there is a budgeted hours field right here. You can now default that based on the office event. And again, I'm going to refer you, if this is something of interest to you, I'm going to refer you to our help videos to help set that up for you. But you can track billable, budgeted hours, all based on events if you'd like. You can delete multiple office events at once. We have this selection key over here now. And I can come down here and hit delete events, so I can delete them all at one time. If I choose override event data fields, right down here, you can also override your start date, your end dates, your due dates, and your sign dates. So this could be helpful for people using Atom to manage their payroll and their bookkeeping clients, where you want to try to change start and end dates for multiple events at one time. So now you can do that with the override feature. Hide Openoffice event records and start dates. I'm going to demonstrate that with my payroll business type. So if I were to go into my payroll client and I go into a client file, get into one here. I'm going to get into X-Tax. And right now displaying all the office events are displaying for this year. These are all the start dates. In this case is January 1st. When I go to my next year, January 19th, so all my payroll events, they're not displaying yet. So like if you look down here, and again, this is a new section here that's organized by status. This table right here is basically going to summarize all my office events. So right now, I have these events that have future start dates. So that's why you see -11. So days, and these are all based on the due date too. But there's 11 days from now, I need to do the payroll. So here's my next due date. But if you notice here, none of my future office events are displaying. And the reason they're not is because I have the organized by status checked. If I uncheck this, now all my future office events are displaying. So right here, my start date is January 13th. So it's all displaying. So I have several of them displaying. Well, if I want to clean this up and clean up the clutter and only display the office events that are currently due right now, then I just check the box, organize by status, and so now I have nothing due, so now I don't show any future office event start date. So this is going to be helpful for those that are using Atom to manage, help manage their payroll and their bookkeeping clients, where you have a lot of events open at the same time and they're reoccurring at some future date. So this way you don't have to actually see all these events at one time, only when they're actually due, and then they're all organized under here, under this new layout of your summary data table down here. So here again, you can see what's coming up due, or if it's past due, it'll actually show a positive number here, the actual due date. These closed events, these are going to show as you close out an office event, like say I complete the payroll. This will then create a brand new payroll client for another future date, but it'll show the closed event. And I could actually, if I want to, I could track how long it takes me. Again, billable hours, budgeted hours, and my billable amount. That's all feeding off of this column here. And again, if you're interested in that, I refer you to the help video to how to set this up. But you can track that in your events, billable and budgeted time. So this data table will help you summarize all your office events. And that is basically, that's page 12 right there that is talking about the office event summary table structure. So I quickly went through all of our new enhancements for 2019. A lot of these new enhancements came from you guys, and I encourage you to continue to send them. If you didn't see them, if you did send us some enhancements, you didn't see them this year, I apologize, but we are continually adding to those, and we start usually in March. So any new enhancements that you would like added to Atom, please continue to send them our way, and you can just send them through the Office portal, and then we'll just make record of them. And then as we get time, we'll continue to add them, because we want to make Atom as good as and better for you. And then it also shares with all of our other users too. So I thank you for all your feedback. It's put Atom where it is today, and hopefully these changes are going to help you have one of the best tax seasons coming. So again, thank you and good luck with your tax season, and we'll talk to you soon.